now what you're all here for. So you must be adventure. Either that or you're accidentally here, but if you came on purpose, you must like to travel. Discover the wonders near Ajijic with Charter Club's tours, and it's Rosie who's going to present for us. Our charming Mexican town is our gateway to exciting destinations, all just a few hours away. We can even go on a trip just 1 or 2 hours away to a hidden gem in the mountains, or to Guadalajara's surrounding areas like Tlaquepaque or Tonalá. But that's not all. Ajijic is super close to Guadalajara's airport, and from there we can make countless quick flights to unique places possible. Countless opportunities wait just a short drive or flight away. Our journey begins here with endless chances to explore and uncover Mexico's beauty. Please join me in welcoming Rosie.
Buenos días. How are you? Well, I am very happy that you are here, and I am happy to see a lot of faces that I know, a lot of friends. And to be honest, I am a little nervous, but I'm gonna try to relax. So the idea is to talk about the places that are not very far from here, driving like 4 hours. I don't know, how adventurous are you? Are you adventurous? Yes. So, yes?
He'll take care of it.
Okay. Well, first of all, we have to know our directions here because it's how I want to go. Talking about where we will go, if we go to the east, if we go to the north, west, and south. Probably you have been in some of those places I am going to talk about, and I would like you to share with us or with me your experience. So first, as you are sitting, what is north? Behind you. East, that direction. West and south across the lake. Yes, perfect. So we are going to start for the east. On the east, we have our neighbor state, which is, some of you know the name? Michoacán. Muy bien. It's Michoacán state, and some of the, just driving a little bit around Lake Chapala, we are going to be in Michoacán. Actually, 10% of Lake Chapala belongs to Michoacán state, and 90% belongs to the state of Jalisco. So the first town we are going to find in Michoacán is a town called Sahuayo, which many people probably have gone. They have great celebrations. Like in Mexico, when we were conquered, the Spaniards introduced like a dance, but at the same time it was educational, representing the battles between the Moors and the Christians, because they were crusaders. Actually, that was the purpose of coming to Mexico, to propagate the Catholic religion. So during the month of, I think it's June or July, they celebrate Saint James in Sahuayo, Michoacán, and they make this performance in the main plaza where some part of the locals dress like the Spaniards, with big headdresses, lots of mirrors hanging everywhere, and some other group of the locals dress like the natives, like indigenous people. Why the mirrors? Because we have a saying in Spanish, when someone comes and get a lot of good things from you, they say they are giving you mirrors for the things you're offering. So bright stuff, but no value. And it's what the Spaniards sometimes did when they first arrived. So that is the first introduction to Michoacán state, and then we can keep driving, and we are going to find a city called Zamora. Zamora is known because they make delicious candies. Actually, there is a candy known with the name of Chongo Zamorano. It's a very weird version of flan, but they boil it in the white of the milk, and they make it with sugar, cinnamon, a lot of things. It's very tasty. But that place, Zamora, is like the place to go, or the sitting place to stay 1 or 2 days, or just for a day trip. Very close to there is a very little lake called Camecuaro. Camecuaro Lake is very clean. It's very local, don't expect. Here in Mexico, you know that many touristic places are not developed, as you will expect, like in the States. You have a Lake Chapala there will be high rises, a lot of touristic places. No, it's not developed. Camecuaro is charming, it's very nice. Some places to picnic there, a small hotel by the lake and that's it. But there is also an area that is called La Cañada de los 11 Pueblos, the Gorge of the 11 Towns. And over there are people that are still speaking the native language, which is Purépecha. And when you talk to them, they say, you speak Castellano. They don't say you speak Spanish. For them, we speak Castilian, okay? And I think we speak Mexican, honestly. That is not like the Castilian, it's not like the regular Spanish. But these little towns, each one has a different industry that they produce what we call nowadays handcrafts. Have you seen the green pineapples? I think they have some here decorating the areas that is made of ceramic, but is very breakable. Beautiful, but don't touch them. They are made in that place. Or there is the place where they make aprons, because part of the traditional dress of Michoacán is an apron made with, they make flowers with cross stitch. They sell them over there. There is another one called Ocumicho, where they make devil ceramic. Have you heard about that? No? Okay, some people call it Ceramica Vetus. The devil ceramic, they call it like that because the communication between the local indigenous people, the Purépechas, which were from the natives of Michoacán, and the Spaniards, friars, the Franciscans, was not very good. Okay, so they were not able to communicate. So the friars came with the idea of making models representing behaviors that were not good or were sins. So I can make a little figurine of a man beating a woman and the devil behind. Or they are funny. Right now they are very funny because they make the model of a bus driver with a bunch of people on the bus drinking and the devil on top of the roof of the bus. So that is the reason because we call it the devil ceramic. But it's the representations of behaviors that are not good. Okay? So it was a way of evangelize them. And then we have another town that is called Patamban. That is a town where there are some masters for the Mexican arts. You know, there is the Feria de los Maestros. There is one that is very famous. They call him Tatatali. And he makes these towers with pictures, kind of. So he starts with the big, the medium, till this high. They are beautiful pieces of art because they decorate them with birds, with many things. And well, that is what is close to Zamora. As you can see, we can talk hours about Zamora and the towns around Zamora, but the idea is to give you the idea of places that you can see driving distance, and you can go by yourself or you can go with me if you want. A little farther is, going to Zamora is about 2 hours if you using the toll road, and Cañada de los 11 Pueblos is just like 15 minutes from Zamora. And well, not very far, we have Uruapan, which is the name of Uruapan, the always green place. Is always green. There is a very famous park that is called the National Park, but there is also a volcano. Probably some of you heard about that volcano, and that was born in, I think, 1943. And it's one of the few volcanoes that may have been able to see since it's born till all the evolution of the volcano. Many artists at that time were attracted by the magic of seeing a volcano making an eruption, and one of them was Diego Rivera. And Diego Rivera made a series of paintings or sketches about that event. And well, nowadays we can visit it, we can climb the mountains of lava and go to the altar of the church of the town that was covered by that lava. And by the locals, that is considered a miracle. The town was evacuated. People had time to leave. Nobody died there. So when the lava made it all the way to the town, went around the altar and the steeples of the church, and they were never covered by lava. There is a new town called San Juan Nuevo. The old town is called, you know, the Mexican names are very easy to pronounce. Let's see, you can do it. San Juan Paricutiro. Paricutiro. And the name of the volcano is Paricutin volcano. That is the name. And well, we're still in the east, going to the east. So the capital of the state of Michoacán is Morelia. It's a beautiful colonial city. Was planned to be the capital of the state. So it's very impressive the way that that was developed. Very well organized, at least the downtown Morelia. And it has a lot of history. One of our local heroes, and one of the heroes of the Mexican independence was born in that place, and that is the reason, because his name Morelia is after him. And from there, from Morelia, or you can go straight to this place that is the second largest lake in Mexico. Do you know the name of the second largest lake? No? Who have it? Pátzcuaro. Pátzcuaro is the third. I mean, Cuitzeo is the third. Cuitzeo is very close to Morelia. And Pátzcuaro is the second largest lake, very famous because the celebration of the Night of the Dead. Did some of you went to the celebration here? I had never been here for the celebration of the Day of the Dead, and I have heard that it's beautiful, it's very nice. Why? Because I am always in Pátzcuaro with a group of people, which is also, it's beautiful. It's a beautiful celebration. So Pátzcuaro is famous because of the towns that are around the lake produce different kind of handcrafts. So you can spend there 1 week traveling through all the little towns. And Pátzcuaro, so it's only 4 hours away from here. Morelia is like 3 hours and 40 minutes, something like that. And well, also to the east, there is to the east, remember we are talking about having as a center Lake Chapala. East of Lake Chapala, there are also the highlands of Jalisco. Have you heard about the highlands? We call it Los Altos. Yes? If you translate it, they are going to tell you the tolls, but no, toll is this. Highlands, Los Altos de Jalisco. Los Altos de Jalisco are beautiful colonial cities, very important because the big part of the economy of Jalisco state is based in what is produced in that area, from poultry, eggs, agriculture, and beef, and dairy cattle, but something more important, tequila. Some of the best tequilas are produced in the highlands of Jalisco. Which brands? Do some of you know some brands from the highlands? No? Fortaleza. No, Fortaleza is from tequila. Yes, tequila Fortaleza is produced by some members of the Sauza family, but they are in Tequila Town. Don Julio? Do you like Don Julio? Yes. Siete Leguas, 7 Lengths, Patron. Yes, Tequila Patron. What else? I don't remember, but those are the most famous ones. And well, in the highlands, there is also a very important town for religious people. It is the second most visited sanctuary in the country. The most visited sanctuary in the country, do you know the name? It's in Mexico City. The Shrine of Guadalupe, yes. But the second most visited is San Juan de los Lagos. There is the Virgin, they are all Virgin Marys, but we call it Virgin of San Juan de los Lagos. So it's the second most visited sanctuary, just to see. Even if you are not religious, I think you can understand the local culture to their religion and the way they approach to the religion. So that is very interesting. In Jalisco, we have 3 virgins. that were made by the same artist. Is San Juan de los Lagos, Zapopan, that Virgin visit Le Chapala, because, men mess up the environment, and then we want miracles. So they bring the Virgin before rainy season and after rainy season. This year didn't work. She didn't listen. We have a very bad rainy season. So it's a Zapopan Virgin and Talpa, the Virgen de Talpa, in the mountains. Many people from here walk to Talpa. It's a place for pilgrimage, and people go biking or walking. They go through the night, and the government of Jalisco built a corridor for these pilgrims to go and visit Virgen de Talpa. The same Virgen de San Juan de los Lagos, you will see people biking on the road before the candlelight, the Candlemas Virgin, I think is the way you call it. There are people that come from the central part of Mexico all the way to San Juan de los Lagos, and there's a time that the authorities had to close one line of the road coming from León, from Guanajuato, just for the pilgrims that go to San Juan de los Lagos. It's that impressive. Okay, and to finish with the highlands and the 4 hours range distance, we have Lagos de Moreno. It's a city that is a UNESCO heritage, beautiful city, and from that area, from the highlands, are the charros. Do you know where the charros are? The Mexican cowboys. Okay? Do you know where the first cowboys were exist in this continent? In Texas?
No.
In Jalisco. In Jalisco, because this was one of the places where the Spaniards introduced first grains and food, and then they say, oh, there is a lot of food for animals. Let's bring the cows and the lambs and the goats and everything, and the donkeys. So that is the place where the first cowboys start their activity in the American continent. Very close to Lagos de Moreno. And Lagos de Moreno is like 2 hours and 50 minutes away from here. It's León, Guanajuato. This is only for ladies, okay? It's a shoes paradise. It's a shoes paradise because it's the leather capital of Mexico. And most of the important shoe factories to export very good quality shoes are established in León, Guanajuato. And there are outlets. So it's like a paradise. Purses, jackets, shoes. For us, it's wonderful. And not very far from León, Guanajuato, 3 hours and 45 minutes from here, is the capital of the state of Guanajuato, that is Guanajuato City. An old mining city that is charming. GPS doesn't work there because the streets are under the city, built by miners. And well, it's a very cultural city, it's a university city, and there are the most important cultural event in Guanajuato capital is the Cervantino Festival that was just last month. Have you been in some of those places I mentioned? Which one do you like the most? Guanajuato. It has some kind of magic that gets you, and then you are there and you don't want to leave, and then you say, no, but I want to go back home to the weather in Ajijic, which is we are in a little paradise, yes? And well, that is east. Let's go. Where we can go? Going north. Well, going north from here, we have a city that people don't visit very much. We have tours there also, to these cities I'm going to mention. And it was very interesting for me when one day there was someone at the office asking in places where they could live close to here, but more Mexican, like a small city. And I say, Aguascalientes. And they didn't like it. I said, why you don't like it? It's wonderful. Aguascalientes is a capital city of the state of Aguascalientes. There is a lot of industry there. Nissan cars are made there, Mercedes-Benz, and well, all the manufacturers that provide the products to this manufacturing plants. And, but something else, is one of the first regions where wine started to be made in Mexico. So they are reactivating that industry or that activity that they forgot for a long time. One of the most famous brands they managed there is Vino de San Marcos, but now they have more different brands and just going around visiting the different wineries. They have their vendimia, we call it, when they celebrate and they do the harvesting of the grapes. It's with a lot of cultural events, so it's a city to go. It's called Aguas Calientes. Can you guess why? Aguas Calientes, because there are hot springs. And there is a place where you can spend the whole day, it's not like here in San Juan Cosala. They have private baths, like the Roman baths, for a family, for one person, for a couple, private. So it's like a bedroom, but you have your bath with hot spring there, and there is a very good restaurant also there. And not very far from Aguascalientes, it is a beautiful city. I think it's a city with classy. For me, it has a lot of class. It's Zacatecas, mining city, beautiful architecture, very interesting culture. The people, we are getting closer to northern Mexico, so the gastronomy is also different, because there is another thing we need to talk about. The gastronomy all over Mexico is a topic, so it's completely different. And visiting Zacatecas during the different cultural festivals they have is very, very interesting, and it's a charming city. Zacatecas and Guanajuato are cities that we need to walk. You have to be able to walk, because there is no way we can use a car in Guanajuato. In Zacatecas, the traffic is difficult. There are cities the streets were made for carriages, not for cars. So we need to walk those cities. Now, Northwest, we're going to talk about the closest places. Have you been in Tequila? Yes, in Tequila Town. Well, Tequila Town is a place to visit. If you have some visitors, and if you want to have a break from the visitors, you can send them on a tour with me. There is not a problem. Close to Tequila is the town of Magdalena. Magdalena is a place that is known because of the opals. We have 5 opals in Mexico. So in those mountains full of sandstone, there are small gems called opals. And you can also go and try to find your own opal, but it's kind of hard. It's a very hard job. People want to go to the opal mines. Sometimes I have taken people, and they think that they just make this and an opal is gonna come out of the rock. No, you have to work a lot to be able to find a good opal. And well, of course, north, I didn't mention it, but there is Guadalajara and all the cities around Guadalajara, but probably many of you have escaped for an afternoon and during the afternoon to go and have lunch in Tlaquepaque and just window shopping, or shopping, why not? Or Tonalá to visit the house of the artisans, or just to the market. The street market in Tonalá is on Thursdays and Sundays. And well, now we are gonna go to that direction, west. And well, there are, Jocotepec and all those cities, but a little farther, like if you were going to Barra de Navidad, which is a town on the coast, there is a small city called Cocula. Have you heard about Cocula? No? From Cocula is El Mariachi. Yes, from Tecatitlán, Los Zones. Is what the song says, okay? The mariachi bands were were baptized in Cocula. Why? Because there was a very rich hacienda owner. Do you know what is an hacienda? Mm-hmm. Yes? Okay, well, a very rich man that owned an hacienda wanted to impress the president of Mexico in the early 20th century. And there was a very good group of musicians, but they didn't dress very well. They were poor. So he dressed them up like a charro. And then he took them to Mexico City and the president was very pleased with the quality of music, their voices and everything. And since then, the mariachis dress like charros. Okay, that is how the mariachi was created as we know that nowadays, because it was just a group of musicians that just play in the local festivities. And now we are gonna go to Southwest, okay? And Southwest, we are going to find many little places on the way to the coast. The end of that trip, if we go southwest, it will be the town of Manzanillo, Colima, on the beach. But in between there is a town that is called Zacualco de Torres. Have you heard about this place? No? Do you know what is an equipal? What is an equipal? No?
Furniture.
It's furniture. It's a chair. It's a rounded chair that is covered with leather and mesquite wood. It's very strong, not very comfortable, but it's very strong. Let me tell you a little bit. These equipales were used not as fancy as we know them now by the Huicholes. You know who are the Huicholes? The natives of Jalisco. The real name of the Huicholes are Huitzirráricas or Huirráricas. That chair was for the men. And the ladies? What happened with the ladies? A little round, and yes, lower. Yes, that was the men's chair. And equipal means chair. So if we say, oh, a chair named equipal, I don't know how you call it in English, but in Spanish it's pleonasmo. We're saying the same thing. Equipal is chair, and you say equipal chair, we're saying chair, chair. Just in different language. So I am talking about equipales because the best equipales in Jalisco are made in Zacualco de Torres. So you can go and visit the different families' workshops. You can even find the ones that spin around and they are heavy, or just the table, so they can customize and probably make something more comfortable for you. And it's only 1 hour and 30 minutes away from here on the toll road, and then you go through the free road. And very close to Zacualco de Torres, there is a town called Sayula. From Sayula, there are very important characters. There is one that is a little bit controversial. It was a problem for one of our former presidents. I want to tell you the story. And a writer that, muchachos, do you have to read Juan Rulfo? No, you don't know who.
A writer.
Yes. Did you read it in high school or what?
Yeah, in the high school.
The high school. Do you remember the name of the book?
Not yet. No.
El Llano en Llamas. It's one of the most famous books written by Juan Rulfo. But one day, one of our presidents, very handsome, came to introduce his book in the International Book Fair in Guadalajara, and he said that Juan Rulfo was from Comala. Comala is in the state of Colima. But Comala and Sayula have been always fighting for trying to be the birthplace of this writer. Juan Rulfo is from, as I live in Jalisco, is from Sayula. And he spent his childhood in Comala, and I'm gonna talk about that town a little later. So there is a museum where they talk about this writer, very interesting books about, he's very good writing, and for you it's easy to imagine how was the life at the time that he was living and describing the life of Mexico in the little towns in the middle of nowhere. Also, Sayula is very famous because they make knives. And there is it's not the only family, to be honest, but the most famous ones from Sayula is Ojeda family. They are at the feria. If you want a good knife for cutting cheese or beef or something, they are in the Feria de los Maestros right now. Well, around Sayula, a very interesting man, an entrepreneur, established the greenhouses where he will grow medicinal plants. And with those medicinal plants, he was producing supplements. The name of his company is Ovni Life. He passed away like 2 years ago, something like that, and his family is still the owner of Chivas soccer team, and the big stadium that looks like the Closer Encounters. Did you remember? It looked like there is the UFO sitting on the top of the volcano. Every time I see it, it looks like that. Well, it's where they produce all the medicinal herbs that they use in the supplements in close to Sayula. Also, blueberries are produced in that area, and tomatoes and many things. It's a place where you can go and stay in an old house, colonial house that we call casonas in Sayula. And they also make, there is a family that make caramel milk in the little boxes, long boxes. Have you tried it? Very good for a toast. So if we keep going a little farther up in the mountains, there is Tapalpa. Have you been in Tapalpa, the mountain town? The land of colors is what Tapalpa means. Well, this is a place to go and relax in the woods, and there is not too much to do. Just walk and go to see the big rock formations. Spend the time in the town to visit some of the cooperatives where they make interesting products, and spend your time, just relax, take it easy in Tapalpa. And well, but if we come back to the toll road, 3 hours from here, there is the capital of the state of Colima. And Colima city is very interesting. It's the people from Colima state, I consider them very, besides being happy, laid back, and all that stuff, they are tough, they are warriors, they are survivors, because Colima has been very bad damaged by earthquakes. So when we get an earthquake here, probably Colima was bad damage. And they have rebuilt that city several times. And from a town very close to Colima called Noguera, there is a famous artist, Alejandro Rangel, that just to collaborate with UNESCO, and a town that is called the White City, Comala, Colima, where many people think Rufo is from there. And from there, of course, you can see the fire volcano of Colima. Okay? And well, going to the south, you know what is in the south? Where you will go if you go to the south, and that will be it. You go almost straight ahead across the lake on the mountains. Mazamitla. Yes, the town of the deers. The woods, relaxing, good food, good weather. Many people that live here in a heatful time they like to go there during April and May to spend some time just to cool down, because here is very warm. So it's also a day trip, 1 hour and 45 minutes, more or less. And well, those are places. I think there are more places. Do you think I'm missing one that you have in? Is very close and I didn't mention? Yes, thank you. Nayarit is only 3 hours away from here, and many people, when we talk in Nayarit, we think in the coastal areas. But the Aztecs, you know who were the Aztecs? Left from an island that is in Nayarit coast, came through here, and then went to the central part of Mexico to establish what is now Mexico City. At that time, Mexico, the land of Tenoch. So Mexico Tenochtitlan was the name of the city that they established. So there are, as you can see, there is not enough time to talk about places where we can go. We can even fly. There are places that are only 1 hour, 1.5 hours away from here. And I had to mention this because we have a tour there to Veracruz. And many people ask me, why Veracruz? Why not? Yes. Because it was the door entrance for the Spaniards. The history of Mexico as a country starts in Veracruz. It's where Hernán Cortés arrived. It's where the dictator left from Veracruz. He had a coffee in La Parroquia, and his last Mexican coffee, and left to France. So many important things, composers, very romantic, very happy people, big African influence in Veracruz, very close to Cuba. Che Guevara left from Veracruz to go to Matanzas, well, to the coast where he took the ship that they bought very inexpensive in Veracruz area, and they traveled to Cuba. It was from Mexico. The Cuban Revolution was cooked in Mexico City and Veracruz. And I think I don't have more time. I don't have more time, but as you can see, I can talk and talk and talk about places, and I hope I don't make you fall asleep. Okay, I have 5 more minutes? Okay, well, I was talking about Veracruz because it's one of the places I had to, probably many of you already know, but I am not from here. I am not from Jalisco. I am not Jalisquilla. You know that the people from Jalisco, we don't call them Mexicans, we don't call them Jaliscienses. We call them Jalisquillos. So I am almost Jalisquilla because I have been living here 23 years. But being in my hometown and eating huachinango a la veracruzana, have you tried it? It's very good. And the huachinango from the Atlantic coast, from the Gulf of Mexico, is very different than the huachinango from the Pacific. It's more flavorful, it's wider. And the way they cook it in Veracruz is wonderful. Shrimps from that area also taste different. Everything tastes different. So together with that, have you heard La Bamba? Para bailar la bamba se necesita. Okay, it's from Veracruz. It's from Veracruz. Danzón is from Veracruz. And you go to Veracruz and the people, they don't know how you call it. It doesn't matter. You are dark skin or white skin. They say, "Wera, wera, wera, wera." They want you to buy ice cream. Yes, wera, 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 wera. So they very exotic flavors, very exotic fruit. It's very, very interesting. Very interesting place. Where else we can fly from here, like 1 hour away from here? Do you know?
Oaxaca. Puebla.
Puebla. Puebla. Puebla. You know why the Spaniards call it Puebla?
No.
Because it was a pueblo. And it's true, because it was a town. So they call it Puebla, the place established by the angels. There's one of the bishops or one of the priests that had the commitment to establish Puebla. They have a dream where the angels were carrying like the model of a city, and they say, this is Puebla, it's only for the Spaniards. Very close to Puebla, there is one of the largest pyramids in the world. The name of that place is Cholula, even bigger than the ones in Egypt. So you can walk inside the pyramid. It's like a tunnel. Like if you have claustrophobia, it's not recommendable, but it's very interesting. The Aztecs have it was their getaway place where they spent some time in the city of Puebla. Very Baroque. There is a very interesting museum of the Baroque in Puebla. The gastronomy is also Baroque. Do you know what Baroque means? Horror vacuum. They don't like the emptiest places. People that were in the Baroque period, they fill up everything, decoration, their life, their dress. It was a style of living. And in Puebla, it's shown in the architecture, in the cuisine, the chiles en nogada. are from Puebla, but they are loaded with things. It's like whatever they have to their hand, they put it in the chiles en nogada and they make something delicious. Those were the nuns. The nuns trying to please the first emperor that we have in Mexico. His name was Agustín de Iturbide. He arrived in Puebla the 28th of August, the day of San Agustin, and the nuns were very happy that we have the independence from Spain, and they created that dish with the colors of the Mexican flag in honor of Agustín de Iturbide. Later on, Agustín was not that a nice person, but that is history. Yes. Okay. Muchas
You really brought our area to life. Thank you so much. I learned so much today. I'm going to come around with questions. Did you all learn a whole bunch today that you didn't know? I'm like, oh my God, I'm ignorant. Okay, I'm going to come around, bring you a mic. Please stand up and ask a question, preferably.
It was a little hard to hear everything that you said, but I kind of wish that they had a projection where all those different places are on a map.
Yeah.
Well, that is the reason, because I was trying to get you, they said east, north, northwest.
Question. Yes.
It's not really a question, but we've been on many of your tours, but one of my favorite ones that you haven't mentioned was the Christmas tour to Mexico City.
Thank you, thank you. I didn't mention it because it's not 4 hours away from here. But thank you, yes. You are invited to our tour to Mexico City. It's an experience that you are not going to forget.
We've been to Morelia a number of times, and people who've not been there really don't appreciate the classical architecture, and also there are universities there, and it's a delightful place, really, very, very, very clean, unlike many of the places in this state. I think it's a cleaner state, actually, but that's just my opinion after being here 12 years. But Morelia, could you speak a little more about that? Because it's really cool with all the younger people there. It's a different...
Yes, it's a university city, and as you say, the architecture of Morelia is very classic. The color of the sandstone that was used for the construction of the historical area of Morelia is pink. It's pink sandstone, and it was planned to be a capital. It was not a town that they built in a place where there already exists in a pre-Hispanic town. It was built to take away the title of capital from Pátzcuaro, because in the first capital of Michoacán state was Pátzcuaro. So when they finally made it in the 1580s, Morelia got the title of the city of Michoacán. So there is a school of music, and they have a choir of children, just like the Vienna choir, and it's just wonderful. I didn't talk too much about that place because it's never ends, you know. The original name of Morelia was, before being named Morelia was Valladolid, after a city in Spain, and they changed it to Morelia because José María Morelos y Pavón, a hero of the Mexican independence, was born in Morelia in a little place for animals. He was a mix of indigenous and a black man, and later on he became a priest, and then he was a very intelligent man, and one of the leaders of the Mexican independence movement. And Morelia is named after him. Morelia means place of Morelos, is what it means, just a little bit.
So I have a question. What is the natural lake north of Zamora?
Camecuaro.
Could you say it again?
Camecuaro.
Could you please spell it?
C-A-M-E-Cuaro. Camecuaro.
Thank you. I'll come forward in a minute, but I have one more question.
Thanks, Rosie. I've been on a number of your tours and they're wonderful. For those of you who might have trouble hearing, when you watch the Open Circle videos, if you click on the settings button, you can get English subtitles. So you don't have to hear, you can read.
Thank you.
I didn't know that. Okay, I'm coming forward.
You didn't mention one of my favorite places, which is Guaximontones at Teoxitlan.
And I have it, and I just jump it. Yes, it's south of the Tequila volcano. It's a very interesting archaeological site, and it's one of the, what they call it, one of the civilizations that archaeologists classify as the tradition of shaft tombs. And the actual name of the Teoxitlan is Teoxitlan tradition. The nickname is Guaximontones. Very interesting place, and I can talk more, but that's it, I think. But you're right, I didn't mention it.
I just wanted to suggest from what you said before, I would love it if you came back and talked about the foods from the different areas near here. Because sometimes things come to the markets and you can kind of guess what it is, but you're not really sure. So that would be wonderful.
But I think we will need a projector. If you have a projector, I can do it.
Okay.
Hola, just a question. Are you going to do any tours that would include the new train in the Cancun area?
When it gets finished, because our president is giving a lot of publicity to this train, but it doesn't mean that it's finished. And I think it's not going to be finished. When it gets finished and it's working 100%, I think, yes, we have to do it.
Anybody else? Okay. Thank you so very, very much.
Thank you.